Hello, dear students. How are you? I hope that everyone will be fine and fighting with this coronavirus or COVID 19 by staying at home. So, stay home, stay safe, and take care. So, today I'm here uh, to discuss with you the topic of our subject, Fluid Power 2, reciprocating pump. uh, I decide that instead of giving only the slides or some slides with this particular video, I decide that I should give you some kind of the what you can say the blackboard or chalk and board feel to you at home in this lockdown situation also. So that's why I decide that I should take your lecture from home itself. So it is a kind of a live classroom. Okay, so are you ready for this for what you can say uh, for this particular lecture? Okay, so in actual classroom we have discussed our second unit, and in which we have discussed about the centrifugal pump. Okay, the construction and the working and the characteristics and some numerical everything we have discussed about the centrifugal pump along with its a basic principle of working. Okay, now this reciprocating pump is the part of your fourth unit. Uh, sorry, the reciprocating pump is the part of your fourth unit. Okay, so fourth unit is a positive displacement pump, and under this positive displacement pump, the two topics are there. One is a centrifugal, reciprocating pump, and another one is a rotary pump. So both are under the category of positive displacement pump. So the positive displacement pump is a kind of pump in which there is a expansion of the cavity will take place, the fluid is inserted in it, and there is a cavity is going to be decreases, and that's why the fluid is going to be reach at its delivery place. Okay, so this is a kind of a positive displacement pump. So under this positive displacement pump, the first is the reciprocating pump. Okay, so we are going to be discuss in details about the reciprocating pump. Okay, here I have already constructed a diagram, okay, of a reciprocating pump. Okay, can you observe here the diagram of the reciprocating pump? Okay, so this is a complete diagram of the reciprocating pump. Okay, and the various topics that we are going to be discuss, okay, throughout in this particular lecture, okay, regarding the reciprocating pump. So that topics are, I'll just read out it one by one. The first one is the construction and the working. Okay, the basic principle of the working principle of the reciprocating pump and its construction. Okay, second is the discharge. We are going to see about that, the discharge through a reciprocating pump. Then there is a work done per second. Okay, see, work done per second and the power required to drive this pump, okay, to lift the water from lower level to the higher level. Okay, the next one that we are going to discuss about the the basic difference between the single acting reciprocating pump and the double acting reciprocating pump. Okay, so here I have constructed the diagram. It's a diagram of single acting reciprocating pump. The next one is going to be discussed some topics which are concerned with the reciprocating pump, that is the coefficient of discharge, okay, and the slip of the reciprocating pump. Okay, then we'll see some what you can say the classification of the reciprocating pump, and we'll see some simple numerical based on the topic. Okay, so uh, shall we start now? Okay, let us see here. There is a construction of reciprocating pump. Okay, as I already told you that it is a kind of the it is a kind of what positive displacement pump. Okay, it is a kind of a positive displacement pump, and in case of the positive displacement pump, okay, what happened, there is a expansion of the cavity will takes place. Okay, fluid is inserted in it, and then there is a decreasing in the cavity. Okay, so these things is there in this reciprocating pump. that you can observe here. Okay, so as far as the construction is concerned, it is having the cylinder, okay, the piston, there is a piston rod, there is a connecting rod and the crank. Okay, so here the crank and the connecting rod, okay, which is attached to the piston rod of this cylinder. Okay, then it consists of the suction pipe, the suction wall, delivery pipe, the delivery wall, as a sump, as well as the delivery tank where the fluid is going to be delivered. Okay, in case of the reciprocating pump, here there is a slider crank mechanism. This is actually the application of the slider crank mechanism, okay, which is used to convert the rotary motion into the reciprocating motion. Okay, rotary motion into the reciprocating motion, and this reciprocating motion will be helpful to us to lift the water from lower level to the higher level, and that's why it is called as a reciprocating pump, because the reciprocating motion will take place with the help of this what you can say, the piston, okay, inside this particular cylinder, and because of that only the fluid is going to be displaced. Now we will see in detail the working of the reciprocating pump. Okay, so what happened here, we are supplying the electric motor to the crank, so that here it is a as you know that the pump, okay, the pump is a device which is used to convert the mechanical energy into the hydraulic energy. Okay, in case of centrifugal pump, this mechanical energy is converted into hydraulic energy with the help of this the impeller which is situated at the centrifugal pump, and by rotating that particular the impeller of the centrifugal pump, okay, and generating the centrifugal force, okay, on that particular fluid, there is a pressure difference is going to be created, okay, and that's why the water is going to be lifted. Here here is also you can observe the pressure variations in the fluid will be there, but the basic principle is somewhat different, okay, as compared to the centrifugal pump. So here with the help of this reciprocating motion, water is going to be lifted. So here you can observe there is a one piston and cylinder arrangement. Okay, so its working is very simple. You might have seen in the holy period, there is a pitchkari. Okay, have you observed the pitchkari? Okay, not that small kind of pitchkari, the larger one kind of the pitchkari. There is some the piston and cylinder kind of the arrangement is there. Okay, so how exactly that pitchkari works? When you put its front end inside the water and just pull a piston, okay, outside, then the water enter inside it, and while you are pushing the piston in a forward direction, then the fluid comes out from it. So similarly the same thing is going to be happen, okay, while the working of the reciprocating pump. Here this particular piston is there, okay, so with the help of this crank, while the cranks rotate, okay, 360 degree, while the crank is rotating 360 degree, the piston moves to and fro motion, okay, because it gives its rotary motion is converted into the reciprocating motion. Okay, so when this crank is rotating from 0 degree to 180 degree, okay, when the cranks rotate from 0 degree to 180 degree, so while the crank is rotating 0 to 180 degree, what will happen, this particular piston will move from left to right, okay, and in the next what you can say, the rotation of that particular crank from 180 degree to 360 degree, this crank is rotating in a clockwise direction. So next 180 degree to 360 degree, this particular piston moves from right to left. Okay, so whenever it will move from left to right, that means when the crank rotates from 0 to 180 degree, then what will happen, the suction will take place, okay, and that's why this is called as a suction stroke. So in which what happen, whatever the pressure inside this particular cylinder, which goes below the atmospheric pressure, and that's why this particular water, okay, will just come and pass through this particular suction wall and will enter into the cylinder during this suction stroke. Okay, and after that, when this crank rotate from 180 degree to 360 degree, what will happen, there is a movement of this particular piston from right to left. So at that time, when this particular piston is simply create a pushing action on that particular fluid, so when it applies some force on that fluid, its pressure is going to be increases, Okay, and when this pressure inside this particular cylinder of that particular fluid is increases, what will happen here? This delivery valve open. Okay, this delivery valve open and water will enter into the delivery pipe and reach at the delivery tank. So this particular stroke is called as a delivery stroke. Okay, so simply whenever the suction stroke will take place, the water will come from sump into the cylinder, and whenever the delivery stroke will take place, the water will enter into the delivery pipe and the delivery tank. Okay, by simply the pushing action of that particular piston on the fluid will take place. Okay, so in this way this cycle continues. Okay, there is a suction stroke, there is a delivery stroke. Here the crank is rotating completely 360 degree. Okay, so here the delivery of that particular fluid will takes place only at the delivery stroke. Okay, means during the suction stroke no water will enter into the delivery tank. That means this particular water will discharge intermittently. This water will discharge intermittently. There is no continuously flow. Okay, can observe in case of the single acting reciprocating pump. Okay, so uh, when this crank is rotated from 0 to 180 degree, from inner dead center to the outer dead center, there is a movement of that particular piston. Okay, so from left side to the right side. So whatever this particular distance is called as the L, that is called as the length of stroke. And this length of stroke will be equals to how much? This length of stroke will be equals to twice into the length of the crank, as you are observing here the circle. Okay, and this will be representing the diameter of that circle. So it will cover the distance of diameter of circle, and then same will be equals to the length of stroke. Okay, so in case of slider crank mechanism, it is called as the length of slider. Okay, so length of stroke. So this length of stroke will be equals to L, and that will be equals to twice into small r. Here is the small r is representing the radius of the crank. Okay, so in this way, another important thing is need to be mentioned here. There is a two valves are open called as two valves are used. One is a suction valve, another one is a delivery valve. So these both valves can work in the only one direction. Okay, it can open only in one direction. That means the water which is entering through the suction pipe, it can be entered into the cylinder. Okay, it cannot be come out into the suction pipe. Okay, and this delivery valve opens only this direction, that is the fluid will be entered into the delivery pipe. Okay, after that this water cannot come inside this particular cylinder. So these two valves, that is suction valve and the delivery valve, is also important. Second thing is that here it is mentioned SH and SD. So here this HS is called as the suction head and HD is called as a delivery head. So suction head, it is the distance, that is a vertical distance between the sump level and the center line of the cylinder. Okay, and the delivery head can be represent a vertical distance between level of this the delivery tank to the center of the cylinder, that is called as a HD. So the total head at which the water is need to be lifted is equals to the summation of these two, that is HS plus HD. HS plus HD. Okay, before discussing about the discharge, okay, let us think about that, how much amount of the water is going to be delivered in one complete rotation of this crank. Okay, so in one complete rotation of the crank, whatever the volume of that particular cylinder, okay, whatever the water is going to be enter into the cylinder, the same amount of the water is going to be delivered. So let us see that how much amount of the water can be entered here. So as there is a suction stroke will takes place, okay, what will happen? The water will be enter into this cylinder and it will cover the distance L, that is the length of stroke. Okay, so it means that this particular L, okay, multiply by this cross section area will give the volume of that particular fluid, okay, which is going to be entered into the cylinder. So that particular volume will be equals to how much? Will be equals to the cross section area of the piston, or you can say the cylinder. Okay, and the L, that is the length of stroke. So A into L is representing that particular volume which is going to be placed inside the cylinder, okay, during the suction stroke, and the same is going to be displaced, that is discharged at the delivery tank during the delivery stroke. So this is the amount of that particular volume. Okay, now let us see about the discharge. So discharge through a delivery. discharge through a reciprocating pump. Discharge through a reciprocating pump. Okay. So can you observe this particular the discharge through a reciprocating pump? Okay, let us zoom that particular part. Okay. So here this defining the discharge as some terms that you should aware, that is D should be the diameter of cylinder. Okay, then the A, okay, should be the cross sectional area of the piston or the cylinder, that will be equals to pi by 4d square, where R is the radius of the crank. Then N, where N is representing, that is capital N is representing the RPM of the crank. And if you want to find out RPS, that is revolution per second, that is N by 60, where this L is representing the length of stroke, that is equals to 2R. So HS and HD, that is the suction head and the delivery head respectively. So as now we have discussed about that how much amount of the volume of water is going to be delivered in one revolution, that will be equals to this cross sectional area multiplied by this length, and this will be representing meter cube. So the same amount of the water is going to be discharged, that is the discharge of water in one revolution is 1 into A into L meter cube. Okay, now here the N is representing the number of revolution per minute. Okay, so the per second can be represented as N by 60. Okay, the number of revolution per second can be represented as N by 60. So as you know that the discharge is going to be measured in terms of meter cube per second, that is volume per second. So the volume which is in meter cube per time which is in second. So here we are having the volume, that is A into L. Okay, multiply by this the number of revolution per second, that is N by 60. Say suppose N is representing 1, means the what you can say the one number of revolution per second is there, so it will be 1 by 60. So the what you can say the discharge can be represented as AL into 1 divided by 60. Okay, but whenever it is suppose N is the number of revolution per minute, okay, so that can be represented as the discharge of the pump. Okay, discharge of the pump per second will be representing as A into L into N by 60, and finally you can say that it is the LAN by 60, where this L is called as the length of stroke, which is equals to twice R. A is the cross sectional area of the piston or cylinder, which is in meter square, and N, which is representing the number of revolution per minute. So N here it is in RPM. Okay, and N by 60, this term is representing RPS because we required per second. Okay, so discharge is per second, that is meter cube per second. So meter cube is A into L, and this term is also N by 60 is representing this number of revolution per second itself, so that's why it is multiplied by, so A into L into N by 60, so that can be represented as LAN by 60. So in this way we can represent the discharge, okay, that is called as a theoretical discharge is ALN by 60. Okay, now let us see that how much amount of the weight of the water which is going to be delivered per second. Okay, so weight of water which is going to be delivered per second is representing that the weight of water, okay, which is going to be delivered per second. So we can represent it W dot. Okay, so W dot means W by S. W dot means W by S, that is weight of water which is lifted per second. Okay, now weight will be equals to mass into G, W equals to mg, okay, divided by second. So but again m by S, that is what is the mass flow rate. So mass flow rate can be represented as rho AV. Okay, so mass flow rate, that is m by S into G, will be representing the weight per second which is going to be lifted. So W dot equals to, this is rho into A into V, okay, into G. But again that AV is representing what? That is representing discharge. So it is representing rho into Q into G. Okay, rho into Q into G. So finally this Q can be represented as this expression. So Q will be representing LAN by 60. So finally the weight, okay, the weight of water which is going to be delivered per second is representing as rho into G into Q, and rho into G into Q means LAN by 60. So final expression for the weight of water delivered per second is rho GLAN divided by 60. Okay, so this is the expression for the weight of water, okay, which is just going to be lifted, or you can say the delivered per second is rho GLAN by 60. Okay, now we will move towards the next, that is the work done by the reciprocating pump. Okay, so what is the work done by the reciprocating pump? The work done by the reciprocating pump can be represented by simply whatever the weight of water going to be lifted per second multiply by the height, that is the head, okay, at which the water is need to be displaced. So that particular head is representing the total head. Okay, so that total head is represented as this HS plus HD. Okay, so this is the total height through which the water is going to be lifted. So it is simply the weight of water lifted per second multiply by the total height through which the water is lifted. So here is the weight of water lifted per second multiply by HS plus HD. And as you know that the weight per second, okay, weight lifted per second is represented by the formula rho g ln by 60, and this is the total head in bracket HS plus HD. So finally the work done per second can be represented as rho g ln by 60 in bracket HS plus HD. Okay, similarly the power required to drive the pump, it is again very simple. The power required to drive the pump is simply work done per second divided by 1000, and its value will be given in terms of the kilowatt. Okay, so the above expression which is representing the work done per second, that is rho g ln by 60 in bracket HS plus HD, this is work done per second, divided by 1000. So final expression will be equals to rho g ln in bracket HS plus HD divided by 60 into 1000 is 6, that is 60,000 kilowatt. So this is the power required to drive this pump. Okay, so in this way we have seen the work done per second, that is rho g ln by 60 into HS plus HD in bracket, and the power required to drive the pump is representing rho g ln in bracket HS plus HD divided by 60 into 1000, that is 60,000 in kilowatt. Okay, so in this way we have covered up to this work done and the power required. Okay, now let us go for the next topic, that is the double acting reciprocating pump. Okay, okay, so now we are going to discuss about the double acting reciprocating pump, as this diagram is representing the single acting reciprocating pump. Okay, so there is a only one difference in between the single acting and the double acting reciprocating pump, and that difference is that when the water is going to be acted on one side of the piston, then it is called as a single acting reciprocating pump, and if the water is acting on both sides of the piston, then it is called as a double acting reciprocating pump. Okay, then how that we'll see with the help of this diagram of the double acting reciprocating pump. Okay, are you observing this diagram? Okay, double acting reciprocating pump, in which there will be a two what I can say, the two suction pipe and the two delivery pipe. Okay, we are observing here the two suction pipe S1 and S2 and two delivery pipe D1 and D2. Okay, as the remaining construction, that is the slider crank mechanism, then connecting rod, and then the piston and the cylinder, everything is will be the same like as a single acting reciprocating pump. Okay, only the difference is that it has a two suction pipe and the two delivery pipe, and because of that what will happen, wherever there is a I have shown here the two colors, the red color and the blue color. So red color is representing that there is a the things which are going to be happen, okay, according to this the red color, and the blue which are representing the blue colors. Okay, so what happen in case of this red color, that is when the piston moves from left to right. So what will happen when the piston moves from left to right? Okay, when the piston moves from left to right, what will happen? When the piston moves from left to right, here there will be suction from the S1 side will takes place, but at the same time the delivery will be takes place at D2. Okay, similarly, whenever there is a movement of the piston from right to left, okay, from right to left, that means the blue arrow. So at that time what happen, when it will be moved from right to left, there will be a suction at S2 will takes place. At the same time, the delivery at D1 will takes place. Okay, it means that during this stroke, that means the left to right and as well as from right to left, during both the stroke you can observe that the fluid, that means the water, okay, which is acting on both sides of the piston, okay, on the both sides of the piston. Whereas in case of this one, okay, in case of this case, that means in the single acting reciprocating pump, whenever there is a suction stroke will takes place, the water is going to be in contact on this side of the piston. Whenever there is a delivery which takes place, the water will be in contact with this side of the piston. It means that the water can act, okay, in only one side of this particular piston in case of single acting reciprocating pump, whereas the this particular water is acting on the both sides of the piston in case of the double acting reciprocating pump. And as its name is indicated, the double acting reciprocating pump means everything is going to be doubled, like the discharge, okay, because during this one stroke, the volume of water which is enter over here, it is A into L, okay, and the same amount of the water is going to be discharges in the earlier stroke, and in the next stroke, okay, the what happen, on one side there is a suction will takes place, but on other side again the delivery will takes place. So delivery will takes place of the same amount of the fluid. So in to and fro motion, it delivers the amount of the fluid which is equals to twice into the volume of the cylinder, okay, and volume of that particular part of the cylinder, that is the A into L, okay. And that's why the discharge through the double acting reciprocating pump is simply twice of this ALN by 60, okay. So you can observe here, the delivery, okay. So through this double acting reciprocating pump is twice LAN by 60. Similarly, the work done per second is representing twice rho into G into LAN by 60 in bracket HS plus HD, okay. And the power required to drive this pump is also 2 into rho G LAN in bracket HS plus HD divided by 60,000 in terms of kilowatt, okay. So it means that in case of the single acting reciprocating pump, whatever the values are there are simply multiplied by 2, that will be representing for the double acting reciprocating pump, okay. Okay. So now there are some, what you can say, the some the parts, some things are related to the single acting reciprocating pump, okay. Like there is a coefficient of discharge, okay, coefficient of discharge and the slip of the reciprocating pump. So there is a CD is called as the coefficient of discharge. As you know that there is a two kind of the discharge that you can observe here. The one is the theoretical discharge and another one is the actual discharge. As you know that the theoretical discharge was is just simply we are calculating by the formula LN by 60, and which is the ideal one, okay. But the actual discharge, this actual discharge value that you will get from the problem or from that particular case, okay, and obviously the actual discharge will be less than the theoretical discharge, okay, because of that some kind of the leakages may be there, some losses will be there, and that's why the discharge, that is the actual discharge, is less than the theoretical discharge. So the coefficient of discharge is simply the ratio of the actual discharge to the theoretical discharge, okay. Let us assume that if the value of what you can say CD is equals to 1, it means that the actual discharge will be equals to the theoretical discharge, but this is not going to be happen, and that's why the value of CD will be less than 1, okay. So it is simply the ratio of the actual discharge, okay, to the theoretical discharge. So CD is representing the coefficient of discharge and it is the ratio of actual discharge to the theoretical discharge, okay. Now the another term which is related to this reciprocating pump is the slip of the reciprocating pump, okay, the slip of the reciprocating pump. This slip term is what you can say is the concern with the reciprocating pump, and it is also what you can say the concern with the actual discharge and the theoretical discharge. So what you can say, the mathematically you can calculate the slip by simply uh, the difference between the actual discharge, the difference between the theoretical discharge and the actual discharge. Okay, means the slip can be represented as qth minus q actual, qth minus q actual. As you know that the q actual is less than the q theoretical, so the slip will be representing q theoretical minus q actual. Okay, so the difference of the theoretical discharge and the actual discharge is known as the slip. Okay, now this slip can also represent it in terms of the percentage of slip, percentage of slip. So in percentage of slip, how we can representing it, the percentage of slip. Okay, so this is the what I can say, the percentage of slip can be represented by this particular formula. Okay, in which it is representing that the slip will be equals to the q theoretical minus q actual, okay, upon q theoretical into 100. See, this is the q theoretical minus q actual upon q theoretical into 100. So slip can be represented as 1 minus q actual upon q theoretical, right? So that will be equals to 1 minus cd, because cd is representing as q actual minus q theoretical. So in bracket 1 minus cd bracket complete into 100. Okay, so in this way the percentage of slip can be represented as in bracket 1 minus cd into 100. So this is representing the slip which is in percentage. Okay, so here the coefficient of discharge, you can see the coefficient of discharge, there is a actual discharge upon the theoretical discharge, and here there is a slip, that is theoretical discharge minus the actual discharge. So according to this particular equation, the value of slip will be positive, right? But is there any possibility that the value of the slip is going to be negative? You can think on it. Okay, so can it be possible that the value of slip is negative? So again, the value of slip is negative, it means what? It means that the actual discharge is greater than the theoretical discharge. So is it possible that actual discharge is greater than theoretical discharge? So this is kind of the question in front of you. Okay, it means that whenever there is a suction stroke will takes place, at that time whatever the amount of the water which is enter into the cylinder, okay, not only that amount is going to be delivered, but the more amount of the water can also going to be delivered into delivery time. That's why you are getting the actual discharges more. Okay, so try to find out the solution of what you can say this problem, that what should be the situation when the actual discharge will be greater than the theoretical discharge, and in that case only you will be observing the slip of reciprocating pump is negative. Okay, now there are the what I say, the classification of the single acting reciprocating pump are of the two kinds. One is depending on what you can say, the acting of water on one side of the piston, and the water which is acting on both sides of the piston. So depending on that, this classification is there. There is a single acting reciprocating pump where the water acts on that particular piston on one side of it, and in case of double acting reciprocating pump, the water is acting on the both sides of that particular piston. And again, depending on the number of cylinders are there in case of the reciprocating pump, it is divided into the single cylinder reciprocating pump, double cylinder reciprocating pump, or triple cylinder reciprocating. So depending on the cylinders are there, okay, this kind of the classification is there. Okay, now we'll go for one simple numerical based on this particular topic. Okay, so the numerical is that there is a single acting reciprocating pump running at 30 rpm. Okay, it is running at 30 rpm. So 30 rpm. let us see that there is a reciprocating pump. Okay, and having the RPM is equal to 30. Okay, okay, uh, you can note down this particular problem. A single acting reciprocating pump at 30 rpm, that is the capital N equals to 3030, which delivers the 0.012 meter cube per second, that means volume per second, that is discharge. So discharge is given as 0.012 meter cube per second, and this discharge is the actual discharge, okay, of water. The diameter of piston is 25 centimeter. Okay, here the diameter of the piston is given as 25 centimeter. Multiply by 10 to the power minus 2, you'll get is 25 into 10 to minus 2, 0.25 meter. And the stroke length is given as, that is L, capital L, is 50 centimeter. That is 50 into 10 to the power minus 2, that is 0.5 meter. Okay, and you have to determine the theoretical discharge, that is QTH, then coefficient of discharge, that is CD, then slip, and the percentage of slip. Okay, so the QTH you can calculate simply, that is theoretical discharge of the reciprocating pump. It is a kind of single acting reciprocating pump, so it is a LAN by 60 meter cube per second. Here this L is the length of stroke, which is in meters. Then A is the cross sectional area, that is pi by 4 t square meter square, and N, here the N is representing the revolution per minute, which is given as 30 rpm. Okay, so by putting the values in this expression, that is QTH equals to LAN by 60, you will get the theoretical discharge. Then CD, coefficient of discharge, is simply the ratio of Q actual upon Q theoretical. So Q actual, which is given to you, 0.012, and Q theoretical, just now we have calculated. Okay, the first part of it, that is LAN by 60, will give the value of Q theoretical. So the CD will be representing Q actual, which is in meter cube per second, divided by Q theoretical, which is in meter cube per second. So whenever these values are given in liter per second, okay, so both should be in liter per second. If the value is given in meter cube per second, so this numeric in the Q actual should also in meter cube per second, as well as Q theoretical should be in meter cube per second. So both should be in same unit. Then the slip is simply the difference. So the difference between Q theoretical and Q actual, QTH minus Q actual, will give the value of slip, whereas the percentage of slip is 1 minus CD in bracket multiplied by 100 will give the value of the percentage of slip. Okay, so I think you can try for this particular numerical, which is very simple. Okay, once again I will tell you the values. N 30 rpm, Q actual 0.012 meter cube per second, diameter of piston 0.25 meter, long length of stroke 0.5 meter, and you have to determine Q theoretical, CD, slip, and the percentage. Okay, so I think we have covered all the points today's, which we have discussed the earlier. Okay, that is starting from the construction and the working of the reciprocating pump. Okay, then second one is the discharge through the reciprocating pump. Third one is the work done per second and the power required to drive the pump. Next one is the difference between the double acting and single acting reciprocating pump. Then we have discussed about the coefficient of discharge, then the slip of reciprocating pump, and finally seen one simple numerical based on this particular topic. Okay, so I hope that you have enjoyed this particular lecture. Okay, which is giving just the feel of the chalk and board to you, and I'm happy to say that hereafter we'll go for the remaining same kind of the lecture. Okay, for our the remaining units or the remaining topics of our subject. Okay, so if you like this particular video, I'll not say that just go to subscribe and all, but the thing is that you should enjoy this particular video. Okay, at the end of this all videos, we'll decide that there will be a one test through the gate tutor. Okay, and there will be some objective type of the questions which will be based on this the discussion on this particular videos of the various topics of our subject. Okay, so till that time, stay home, stay safe, enjoy this what you can say, the home classroom lectures, and the just what you can say, the tick this subscribe button if you like this particular video. So this was my first video, and hereafter I will try to give what you can say, the as much as can possible. Okay, so all the best, and thank you very much.